right, look, y'all. Managing this, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's just too much for me. Also, I hit the wrong button. We've got Mr. Flak Magnet in the house. How are you, sir?
Hollerino, buddy. Hollerino. What is crapping, my man?
What up, everybody? And Usually you kind of, make your flak entrance kind of later in the show. So now you have to hear me say, you're watching the Gabriel Speaks podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. Helps the algorithm for us. God knows they don't listen to what we say. They listen to what you say. So please like, share, all that good kind of stuff. We got a packed show for him tonight, Flak.
Woo! I'm excited. I actually run on Flak People time, which is my own time zone. It's fucked up. I'm always a little bit late, but I'm there though. I show up eventually.
Exactly. Yes. So we're talking about a few things tonight. We're talking about, we've kind of had this continued series with the UFO files. And we've gone through the videos, we've gone through the pictures, and we've gotten through two of the, I don't know if you went and downloaded everything off the website, but we went and we downloaded like the whole packet, like everything. So we've gotten through two packets. Of the second packet was just straight incident after incident after incident after incident. This one is also going to be more incident reports, but this is now the third packet that we're going to be going through.
See, I've got my phone that I'm doing all this shit on, so I'm having to download things individually. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to read. This is the worst part because you see the typeface on that shit is so small anyway.
Oh yeah.
So I'm trying to read that on my phone and then decide if it's worth it or not to use up my memory on this thing. So like, it's just been taking me forever.
This is one of the genius things I've been able to do with AI is say, hey, point me to the interesting ones because there's 200 pages, right? And like, I didn't sign up to read like I don't know, Michael Crichton novel. I just wanted to read what's interesting, right? So anyway, but it's turned out that quite a bit has been interesting and we've had to read quite a bit. What also I think is very fascinating is I took all those videos they gave us, right? And you can see it on the screen here. I strung them all together. When I go through and read these descriptions, it's almost like describing what we're seeing now in these videos.
Ooh, that's cool as hell.
Yeah, it's really weird, man. It's really weird. So we're gonna go over some of these files tonight, go over a few of these incidents with y'all that are pretty cool. Also, the US government launched a website that could mean disclosure. Did they give us disclosure today?
Oh yeah, they disclosed how stupid we think they are, those son of a bitches. I'm not going to say that they got me, but they fucking got me. They got me. I was like, woohoo, finally. And now there have been some people like, okay, so I've been a bit negative about a lot of this disclosure shit. Where I'm like, they ain't going to give us nothing. But like when push comes to shove and they're like, I got a little shiny thing dangling from my face. I go, I'll take a look at it. And then they get you. That's how they get you. You know? So they think that we're all a bunch of dum-dums. And yes. I think you could count me as a dum-dum. They got me. I'm so pissed.
Very upset. They got us all. I was so excited when you had let us know that they had announced it. And then you go to the site and the site even looks like some alien shit. Right. And y'all what we're talking about is Aliens.gov, which actually just redirects you to whitehouse.gov/aliens. And it's just a White House website. And it looks like they're talking about hybrid aliens for about 20 seconds, right?
Yeah. Until this Star Wars font and letter rolling finishes. And then you feel like a butthole for reading it that long.
Yeah. So they decided to take illegal aliens and make it funny.
Wasn't that funny? Wasn't that funny, Gabe? Wasn't that funny, bud?
That's so funny. I had to turn off my fan. Yeah, not funny. Not funny in the least. And also the subject matter. Like it's just so strange to take something they know that people are interested. They just released all these files, right? Some of the ones we're going to go over tonight. All these videos that we're looking at right now, they just released all this stuff. And President Trump was at the cabinet meeting yesterday, just yesterday, saying they're releasing more. Today, Aliens.gov goes live. I'm sure there were a ton of polymarket bets. And you go to Aliens.gov, and what do you get? The illegal aliens are here, y'all.
I just want it on the record. I beat Red Panda Koala to this story by 3 minutes.
Good for you, buddy.
Glory. I'm the disclosure now.
Yes, I know. Listen, you take great pride in figuring shit out quickly, and I am glad you were able to do that. Now, like the man, I put it up earlier, said the greatest trolling moment of the White House. And it's funny because we have these banners, that I make before the show and whatnot. And that was actually one of them was aliens.gov, the biggest UFO troll ever. Like, is Trump just the mastermind when it comes to social media and trolling?
If this can be solely placed on his shoulders, I'll give him a little bit of a round of applause because he got me. That fucker got me.
I mean, he just posted an alien in shackles as he was walking through Area 51. Now, granted, that was AI. But when the president of the United States posts an AI picture of him walking with an alien that's in handcuffs, and then the UFO files come out, you're thinking some kind of way, right?
Yeah, but this is also not the first time something like this has happened, right? Like we had the lights over Arizona that were very strange, and then there was a press conference where the fucking, I think it was like the mayor or the governor, brought out a fucking alien in a costume, right? And like this was something that people saw. Yeah. Many, like over 1,000 people saw this fucking thing, and even this guy, like I think it was 10 years later or maybe 10 years ago, he came back out and said like, okay, it was weird. It was weird. I saw something strange. I feel like an asshole that I did that, but I did it. So.
Right. And that was nice to see, at least in whatever documentary that was, when he came forward and he was like, yeah, that was probably a dick move. Okay. Doesn't help us much now, but at least maybe you've learned your lesson. Of course, now you're in no position of power, so that doesn't really help, right? And that seems to be the case with some of these recent whistleblowers coming out too, right? They're basically giving up their jobs. They're giving up their positions to come forward and say what they've seen. Crazy to think about. A story I've been really fascinated with is the Montauk story. And I know people that watch my channel, they probably know all about the Montauk. But also, we like to go through this stuff as if it's new again, right? Because we might have missed something, and now we have decades and decades of knowledge and basically new history, like declassified papers, unclassified reports. So it's like, it's so true when they say the winners write the history books. Now, Flak, have you heard about the Montauk experiments?
Oh, yeah. There was actually, this is a rabbit hole I fell down many years ago on YouTube, back before YouTube went suck on us. I forget the name of the guy who did it, but he had like I believe it was a Navy guy who retired, but then like in his off time really loved fucking with like old Navy tech, like radar and like just the amount of equipment that he had in a dedicated room for it was kind of amazing. But he was explaining that some of that stuff had to do with the Philadelphia experiment and some of the things to do with like resonant waves and shit to do with that thing. And then he, I think, brought a psychic down to the area where the Montauk project was supposedly being done.
Wow. Okay.
And first off, they didn't tell the psychic, which was a bit fucked up because they didn't tell the medium where they were going and what they were doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but she broke down when she got in there. She felt like all the despair. And I'm not one for the woo. Like I like to stay firmly within facts. But like seeing this woman's like visceral reaction to the area she was in, and then after she was told what that place was, and she looked mortified that this is where she had been taken. But she kind of toughened herself up and continued to do whatever reading in there. But it was just very, very crazy.
That is crazy. And I would not be surprised to find out there's some sort of energy there. It is so weird when you go down these rabbit holes. You find out about some of these people up high, and you hear things to the effect that they like to scare their victims because there's an energy there, right? There's a power there that they want to tap into. It's very creepy. The Montauk stuff, if you've seen Stranger Things, that will give you an idea of the Montauk stuff. Now, no, they didn't go into another dimension and fight a demigorgon. But as I'm going through and listening to some of these stories, they are pretty fantastical, aren't they, buddy?
Oh yeah, fantastical, but with just enough tangibility to tie it into reality. I believe the location was Camp Hero, right?
Yes, that's right. Absolutely, yes.
And those infrastructures are still there.
Yes, they are still there. It's a national, federal type camp. You can go there and check it out. And absolutely, yeah. So you connected it to the Philadelphia experiment. And here's why, everyone. As I was getting ready for this evening, there are a couple of gentlemen that are very, very pronounced in this field of the entire experiment project and a lot of the things that happen there, also connected to the Philadelphia experiment.
In 1954, there was another group which came into purview of the governments, and that was, of course, the Greys. There was a series of UFO crashes in New Mexico in 1947, 48, and 49. I won't go into them in detail. But because of that, the government sent a call out through the vast array of radio telescopes in New Mexico, a call for help into outer space. We have an alien here. We don't know what to do with him. He's ill. How do you take care of him, et cetera, et cetera? Is there anybody out there that knows who he is and what you do with him? The government got an answer. It took a while, but they got an answer. A group of small ships showed up in about 1953 with some Greys on them, and there was an exchange of ideas and thoughts, and some hostages went both ways. With the promise of return in 1954, which the Greys did do in very large numbers, landed at either Edwards or Holloman Air Force Base, or both. Eisenhower disappeared out of Palm Springs in one of his golfing weekends to Edwards, met with the aliens, and signed an agreement, a non-interference agreement, in which we agreed not to interfere with each other's civilizations, and there would be an exchange of technology. Well, the non-interference agreement didn't last very long because it became very obvious to our government that the Greys weren't keeping it, and what exchange of technology took place was not perhaps all that was expected. The important point was that our government agreed to provide bases for them underground, some 75, full underground railroad system. Construction started in 1959.
Now, this was the late 90s, and this is Al Bielek. Now, this gentleman claims that he was there during the Philadelphia experiment, and jumped through a portal with a buddy of his.
Do you think he ended up in Waffle House?
I think it's very possible. But I don't know. When you hear him tell the story, I don't recall waffles. There might have been some syrup. But at any rate, it's really fascinating. He talks about, when it comes to the Philadelphia experiment, waking up in this alternate future timeline and then finding out it's in the future and seeing a part of California under the Pacific Ocean, and all this really, really crazy, fascinating stuff. And the Montauk experiments also mess with time. And that's why it gets a bit trippy, because as a lot of you know, when you start going down that rabbit hole with time, shit can get complicated, right?
Oh, yeah. Not unless you grandfathered into the grandfather paradox.
Is that how it works?
I think so. I don't know. I'm flying on the edge of my seat here.
Yeah. I mean, but this is one of the reasons the Dan Burr story fascinated me, was the aspect of time, and a reason that that whole proposition that future us are trying to nudge now time us for some reason is very interesting to me. Not saying that it explains for all the weirdness that's out there in the world, everyone. But I do think it's interesting. And Al gets into Mr. Balick, whatever you want to call him, gets to talking about them using remote viewing at Project Montauk. And if you think that's crazy, just remember, this is a country that had the 1st Earth Battalion.
For anyone who's wondering, that's heavily talked about in Men Who Stare at Goats. Fantastic movie. I recommend it highly.
I'm just saying, we developed an entire unit of psychic badasses, right? So to think we wouldn't take this old World War II equipment, because turns out that's what a lot of it is, old World War II equipment, and try to use it towards our advantage in some other way, of course we would do that. I mean, it just makes sense. But yes, we'll get into that a little more down the road. But first, we're going to go over a couple of these files. Now, I think we all agree that Alien.gov can just go straight to hell. I'm so I'm so irritated by that. I can't even believe that they did that. It's like, dude, you're running a country, not a reality show. But maybe he is running a reality show.
As a fake doctor, I concur with everything you just said.
As Dr. Magnet. Oh my goodness. So, okay. So these files, folks, these cover mostly 1949, some of 1950. And Flak, you're going to get used to my very dry delivery here. This is dated 9 January 1950. It's addressed to the Commanding General, Air Material Command, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Hey, we've been talking about someone else from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in recent episodes. 1, in compliance with Flight Service Regulation 200-4, dated November 1948, unidentified flying objects, the following report is submitted. On the night of 6 January 1950, in fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring up this video and I'm going to read this incident report here. On the night of 6 January 1950, 2 objects were sighted over Kansas City, Kansas, and Olathe, Kansas. They appeared to be motionless, sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, over Olathe for 10 to 15 minutes, then moved off very fast. The weather at Kansas City was clear with 12 miles visibility. The incident was witnessed by James F. Gray, gives his address, phone number, and Robert Van de Veeren gives his address and phone number. Photos are not available. Sketches are en route to Lorry Flight Service and will be forwarded immediately upon receipt. 2 objects were sighted, both spherical in shape. They appeared to be the size of old-fashioned street lights about 2 blocks distant. They were a brilliant white, emanating orange and red flashes. They moved from over Kansas City towards Olathe, Kansas, remained motionless for 10 to 15 minutes, then moved off very fast in a southwesterly direction. The estimated altitude was between 7,000 and 8,000 feet. No sound, no exhaust. This report was given to Fairfax, so on and so forth. And I do not see a drawing of the objects.
This was the same fucking thing that a lot of World War II pilots were talking about.
Foo Fighters.
Yeah, man. And then a little crossover with Vietnam, but not as much. Like apparently World War II had way more of the floating, like a light things. I wouldn't even call it a warp, because a lot of them were called like more disc shaped
Right.
bits of plasma.
I think one rumor I heard there was that they were using some kind of advanced laser lighting to try to mess with our pilots or something. Have you heard that theory?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised. Lasers have been around since like the late 1800s, like 1890 plus. I mean, we were creating X-rays with the Crookes tube, and that was like 1850. It was just the inert gas within the Crookes tube would absorb into the glass itself, so they came up with different things. But we were building on shit like that for a little while. I wouldn't also be surprised if they somehow were able to project some kind of image on like a standing cloud, or like, because I think like just a normal projector in a fog-like substrate, you can get some pretty cool looking things going.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, and different, reflections from different objects, some even in outer space, right? Like that can happen for sure. Ableman says, I suggest researching the purpose of and findings of Nearok Haystack Observatory. Ooh, very interesting. Thank you, Ableman. We will definitely make note of that one. That sounds very interesting. Have you heard anything about this Nearok Haystack Observatory?
No, I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah. Let's check that one out in a minute. Okay, so this is the next report, folks. I am on page 7 now. And again, you can go right to the DOW website and download these. But I think it's interesting as we watch this video and we describe these incidents, some of the similarities, it's just crazy. The aircraft AF-7110 was proceeding from Bedford, Massachusetts to Griffiths Air Force Base. The flame appeared more than twice the length of the object. The object finally disappeared into the overcast. Reported at 7,000 feet at the time, the approximate coordination of the sighted object gives the coordination of the object. The approximate distance of the object from the observer was 30 miles. So this is a pilot, an Air Force pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Philip Rule, who saw this object take off in what looked like a bunch of flame. That was another thing I noticed as I was reading the last batch of reports. A lot more reports of flame and less reports of plasma back then. And now it's like the reports are like plasma and not so much flame. Maybe it's just an understanding of what people are seeing.
I was going to say, I wonder if that also could be color related,
Yeah. And people not having the vocabulary, right, back then to describe what could be described as plasma now. That wasn't your everyman's vocabulary back then, I don't think.
Well, I see the Da Vinci comment in the comment section. I agree wholeheartedly, man. Da Vinci was definitely on another level. Just looking up, Because I don't think he has very many patents that you'll find in the actual patent office things, like within that directory. But looking up his diaries,
Well,
you
they
find a
just
lot
steal
of
the
stuff.
good ones anyway.
Yeah, touche.
Yeah, that's how they do you in the United States, folks. If you come up with a patent too dangerous to the government or the way things work, they will take it.
Well, he came up with a gyropter, I believe it was called, which was a early
Like a
helicopter.
gyro. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, he came up with a lot of shit, right? True Renaissance man. I find Renaissance men over the ages just fascinating. Okay, moving on here. Major Earl Goodrich, Air Material Command, AP Procurement Field Office, Bedford, Mass., was the co-pilot of the flaming sphere that we just talked about. Relative to radar sightings, no radars now operating on the ground. No radar sightings of airborne when object was sighted. Not applicable. Okay, so this one in 1949, September 22nd, 1949, did not show up on the radar. But you have the report of a captain and a co-pilot in the Air Force saying they saw this. And we said it before, just to remind y'all again, a lot of the reports, well, a lot of the concern about the reports is that the USSR took their half of the paperclip scientists and they built a bunch of Horton flying wings that can fly from the USSR to the United States and bomb us to oblivion. That was the real fear. It wasn't so much aliens. At least that's what it seems on paper, what I'm gathering. I mean, aliens, they're interested, more concerned about it being the USSR in 1949.
Well, that's a smart thing, because you plan for what you can handle.
Yeah, you're the
In
military.
that way, like imagine this is extraterrestrial and they're not fucking with you. They're just looking at you. I think your best bet is to just leave it the hell alone and observe.
Right. I mean, so we just heard that story from Al Bielek about how we had an agreement with the Greys and they broke it like within no time. But it was only after we built them underground bases that they broke the agreement. Sounds like us. Sounds like some shit we'd see us doing some kind of deal with the nation, right? Okay, let's see.
It's a little bit of a out of the CIA fucking tactics, right?
Right. Like we learned it from the Greys. How wild would that be? Okay, so this is a sighting report, and this is from Sergeant Jack Faulkner, controller, 143rd National Guard aircraft controller. So a lot of these reports coming from Air Force, air traffic control. Pretty sure the United States Army Air Force was pretty strong back then as it kind of transitioned to Air Force fully and Navy and Marines. Let me see. There were no photographs. There were 3 witnesses, all sergeant or above, in the Air National Guard. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Air National Guard. And here comes the report. Okay, here it goes. Sergeant Studman first saw the object from his home in the north end of Seattle. Cool. He called Sergeant Faulkner, who was on duty at the 143rd National Guard Aircraft Control and Warning Squadron, and reported the object. So that's, making a phone call back then. That's a pretty big deal. Sergeant Faulkner reported that after receiving the call from Sergeant Studman, he stepped outside of the office and he saw apparently the same object reported by Sergeant Studman. Staff Sergeant Mullen also saw the same object. Staff Sergeant Mullen was at his home in the south end of Seattle at the time he saw the object, and he reported the information to the CAA control tower at Boeing Field, Seattle, who relayed the information to the McCord Flight Service Center. Both Sergeant Faulkner and Sergeant Studman saw other aircraft in the air at the same time the circular object was sighted, and reported that it bore no resemblance to any aircraft they had ever seen. So I'm old, but I'm not like 1940s old. So when I think back then to UFO reports, I do think like flying discs. But it turns out, like in the actual reports, it was rare for them to say it was a flying disc. It was much more common for them to say it was like an orb or a ball or a sphere or something like that.
Yeah, I heard quite a bit of boomerang shaped things too that were later
The Horton
attributed.
shape.
Yep. But it's weird because the Hortons didn't really kick into overdrive with their stuff until they got to Argentina. And now if you start to look at like 1950s Argentinian jet plane, I'll send you a couple images because I've got.
Okay. Oh shit! I just kicked Flak out. Hang on, Flak.
Oh,
There he
hello,
is. Okay. Sorry, buddy.
there.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. I love looking at the Horton Who stuff, especially the Horton Ho stuff, especially like when they got to Argentina and were working on other jet aircraft that looked really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. And when you think, okay, late 40s, they're developing a twin engine jet, y'all. Like we're still like thinking that the Rolls Royce, propeller engine is badass here. And these cats are working on a twin engine jet. Yeah, 239 Loki calls it out, stealth bomber tech. And that's something they get into a little bit on the Montauk.
And it's the same
Montauk story as well.
Right? Like the biggest telltale sign that it came from the Horton lineage is the fact that the two turbines are set on either end of the cockpit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes from the top through underneath, right? Back out through underneath where it exhausts. But that follows through right with our own fucking tech, not tech. What's called the bomber tech that we
like
have
in the
now,
70s and whatnot. Yeah, I mean that's big turbine right through the middle was definitely the design for a minute for sure, and still is with some aircraft. And if you look at drones that aren't propeller planed, they just make a V like this. This video is pretty incredible. Have I showed you I think I did show you the video on the new stealth fighter stealth accompaniment. It's an AI drone, jet propelled, that flies with a fighter jet. So any fighter pilot could have like basically 5 of these at the ready. And it's 5 companions that are fully equipped to fire munitions at the enemy. It's insane. It's insane. You just say engage that fighter pilot. And that fighter pilot's already going to be in a dogfight miles before you even get there. Crazy stuff. Crazy development stuff. Okay. So these guys, all 3 of these military members in the Air Force, they're in Seattle. They all see this giant orb. They all report it. One calls the other one. He walks outside. He sees it. There's Ben Freeman, an air traffic controller, Harold Watson, a senior air traffic controller. They confirm the story. Mr. Freeman, an air route traffic controller, was on duty in Seattle, Air Route Traffic Control Center at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. What appeared to be a jet aircraft in the direction of the Olympic Mountains at an estimated distance of 20 to 30 miles away. He brought this to the attention of Mr. Watson, who was the senior controller on duty. Since they were aware that no jet units were stationed in this area, they notified the McChord Flight Service Center. The dispatcher on duty at the McChord Flight Service Center did not have a flight plan on any jet aircraft or fighter type aircraft in this area and made a check of all the military bases within the area to determine if any jet or fighter type aircraft were flying locally from their bases. A negative report was received. Mr. Freeman and Mr. Watson both reported that they were definite that the object sighted displayed visual characteristics of a jet fighter and that its spread was such to lead them to believe it was a jet aircraft. Or I'm sorry, its speed was such to lead them to believe it was a jet aircraft. Whoo! That's wild, y'all.
Okay, I'm sending you. I just found a bunch of them, so I'm going to send some over to you now, just so people have an idea what we're talking about.
This is even crazier because I can't even say this without doxing myself. But I will say, yeah, synchronicities are crazy, crazy high. Okay, let's see here. This is 16 August 1949. An unidentified flying object was sighted over Greenville, South Carolina. Let's see what this guy looked like. I won't read you the whole report word for word. 2 witnesses reported unidentified flying objects. No photographs or sketches available. The unidentified object was described by the witnesses as round, fairly large, gray, moving in a northwesterly direction at an undetermined speed. No sound, again, no exhaust, no trail behind the vehicle. Its altitude was estimated to be 5,000 feet or less. The maneuverability is not known, but it appeared to be moving at a constant speed and altitude. All reports were received via Plan 62 interphone by Maxwell Flight Service Center from Atlanta Air Route Traffic Control Center. So this is interesting that even back then in the late 40s, it seems like they had some direct way to notify a national authority of these reports. So when we hear pilots say things like, there's no way to report, there's no reporting this and that and the other, I don't know about that. It seems like there was a way to report for quite a while. And I don't know why reporting something like that would cause you to lose your credibility when we're seeing literally stacks and stacks and stacks of these reports come out of these declassifications. So I got your pictures here, Flak. Let me get these loaded up here.
And now I want this is on record. The Germans had remote control tanks in World War I being developed. So by World War II, they were fucking ready and in use. Which I don't know. I don't know how many people actually came in contact with these things because there are virtually no reports. But there are videos of the German military testing them before 1925. So
very interesting.
I don't know what the hell happened to them because it's never ever talked about. Just the evidence of them testing it is the only thing that I've been able to find.
Okay, so we're gonna put a pause on this video, folks. This is a
that's a newer one.
Is recovered. This is very interesting.
That's a newer one. There's another 2 that I sent you that are.
This is kind of a classic, right?
Yeah, that's the Horten Ho from Germany. This is the one that was being worked on. I believe they only completed about 7 before the war was over, and they only used 3. And a couple were destroyed, and then 2 were recovered.
And we were terrified of this thing, folks.
Oh yeah,
we were scared of this thing.
Now this one right here, this is the jet that the Horten brothers produced for Argentina once they fled Germany and went to Argentina.
But
like, look how cool that thing looks, right? And so what they changed was, like in the photo we saw right before, where the openings are up top. These are right in the front, kind of like like the scoop, what the fuck is it called? Unlike the classic cars, right? With the big wind scoop in the front. Like so this is more similar to that, but very wild. Like look at that thing. This is 1950s, dude. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
It is way ahead of its time. Obviously. Way ahead of its time. I mean, it could pass for a modern day drone.
Yeah, oh yeah. I would like to get. I don't even know how well known these are because there's not too many photos of this craft even in flight, right? But I would love to get a model of this thing and nerd out and build it out for the weekend.
Oh yeah, there's got to be one out there, right? somewhere.
If not, Testers needs to get the fuck on it. They have already the sport model of a UFO. Get on this fucking thing, boys.
Oh man, they have, buddy. We just don't get to play with it ourselves. Okay. Going back to this report here, and again, this aircraft, our Air Force was terrified of. I mean, absolutely terrified of the range, the stealth capabilities, the amount of bombs it could carry. We were 100% terrified of this thing. We thought it was going to cost us the war with Russia that was certainly going to happen, right? It's interesting also that it panned out that way because we worked with Russia to destroy the Nazi regime. And it's interesting that there would so quickly be a split between us and them just based on, I don't know, diplomatic and economic strategy. I don't know what you call it. But it's crazy that all of a sudden Nazis are defeated and we're in a Cold War with the USSR. Just immediately. Okay, getting back to these files here.
You know, though, like it's weird, just not to go off on too big of a tangent, but like,
let's hear it. Yeah, buddy.
It wasn't until the Sputnik was launched that I feel like the rivalry really hit between Russia and the U.S.
Right. Well, they were ahead of us in space, right? We couldn't have that.
Oh yeah, and then like it's real funny if you look up some of the like the footage from the time of that, like where it's like the Goddard Space Center and some of the other labs that we had, and what was the big convention? I forget who it was, but it was right after Sputnik launched. The U.S. had like a little booth set up making fun of that fucking thing. Like pretty funny to see how petty these dudes were at the time, but like they had
it was like a boogosphere.
Oh my god, it was. But it was just like the jealousy was off the fucking charts with that one.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Mark, I think it was Mark Sokol, Falcon Space, went and drilled a hole into the boogosphere and now claim that it's fake. So if you had your hopes up, I'm sorry, folks. I tried to tell you last summer. It wasn't real. Try to tell you. The best way to predict the outcome is to look at the history. Jaime Maussan has about 400,023 bullshit scams behind his belt. This one was going to be real? No.
So what the hell is that boat thing? Like my ADHD has gotten the better of me.
Oh, these videos are crazy. Yeah.
What's that boat thing anyway? Because the center of that looks like the
Death Star?
Like an oil tanker on a freight train. You know what I mean? It has that big round body to it, and then it has like a normal ship front. Is that like an oil vessel? Or what the hell is that thing?
Couldn't figure it out. So I did an episode where I went through it's 3.5 hours, buddy, of video. That second download was. So I went through the whole 3.5 hours, rewound it several times trying to figure out what things were. That thing, I have no idea. And that's why the drone operator was so fascinated with it, because it just made no sense. Just didn't make sense. It's some weird anomaly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Only way I can describe it.
I like when people say they don't know. It at least is a lot more honest than like, let me try and bullshit you with these bunch of facts that don't line up.
That's a Palladian craft, class 6.
The class 6 is the clencher.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. So speaking of guys that are just saying what they saw and not adding a storyline to it, here we go. This is 28th of July, 1949. So there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason as far as order of date or order of importance. They just kind of threw all this shit together in the file and made it available to download. This is in Spokane, Washington. So we're in Seattle. Now we're down in Spokane. This is on a clean day with a 14,000 foot and 40-mile visibility. So pretty clear out. Mr. Miller reported he was in his home and was attracted by a sound similar to a formation of jet aircraft. He went outside his home, and the only aircraft in sight was a B-29 heading from east to west. At an estimated 1,000 feet above the B-29, Mr. Miller reported he saw a formation of 8 dish-shaped objects, each larger than a B-29, traveling in the same direction as AF-7742. Oh, I'm so sorry. He was traveling the same direction as the B-29 and at a much greater speed. The pilot of the B-29 AF-7742 stated he was at 13,500 feet at the time and had not sighted anything unusual. Mr. Miller stated that he had not been drinking and had good vision. Mr. Miller gave this report to Spokane Radio, who forwarded it to Seattle Air Route Traffic Control Center. There it is again, Traffic Control Center, who in turn forwarded the report to McCord Flight Service Center. McCord Flight Service Center. So we're seeing these entities where they're forwarding all this stuff to are obviously some kind of setup for the Air Force, right? Like they're not saying they're the Air Force, but it's definitely the Air Force. Because where'd all these reports come from?
Well, yeah. I was going to say, like, what would be the reporting office? Because I mean, it would go through Joint Operations Command, I believe, but that would be like the dissemination node to whatever other agencies. But it would come in through either the Navy, if it was a time when the Air Force was an underling of the Navy, or it could have been like what, right after the Air Force was given its own.
It's hard to say, but it definitely seems like, hey, what's up? Ron says the new name is Bogosphere, not Boogosphere. Bogosphere. I like it.
Yep.
So yeah, there's and again, like I said, I'll be reading these, and then you look at these videos and it's like, fuck it. It's the same thing. The same thing we're seeing now in these videos. A lot of what these files are just pages and pages and pages of reports of people seeing the same thing. Nobody had a cell phone camera back then. So he made a report. It went on paper and they classified it all. And why wouldn't they? Of course they would. They're trying to protect our airspace. I get it. I don't get the messing with people part of it, but I get the needing to protect our airspace part of it. Okay, so going on here, this is the following report of a sighting of unidentified flying object was the 10th of August, same year, 1949. Again, this is another military one. We got Corporal Conger, Staff Sergeant Paulson, Corporal Bishop, is that fucking General? Oh, no. I'm sorry. G.E. Milligan from the tower operator and the tower operator, their boss. Medford Airport in Oregon. Hey, what's up, Northwest? What's up? Okay. Photographs of objects not available. Sketches of objects configuration are not available. How many of them were there? It varied from 1 to 7. Shape undetermined, size undetermined, color shiny. Speed. Are you ready for this? Speed varying from slow to very fast. Heading. Objects did not hold any specific heading and were last seen heading west. Objects maneuvered horizontally, but not vertically. So again, these really weird, strange movements. and what do they call it now? Instantaneous acceleration. Whatever you want to.
Yeah, they can call it whatever they want. I call it space magic.
Space magic? Magic. What did you send me now, you crazy bastard?
Oh, this is one for whenever we finish this stuff. It's just a cool one that I found where it was orbs birthing other orbs.
Oh my God. Is it plasma related?
Yes, it is.
See, I told you, dude. Plasma. Plasma, plasma, plasma. Makes me all wet. All right. General remarks.
Moist.
Personnel from Medford Airways first sighted the objects and notified Medford Tower as Medford Radio. Personnel from Medford Radio used the light to get a better look at the objects. They're calling it a theodolite. Theodolite? I swear that's what it says, y'all. Theodalite. Theodolite or the Odolite, or it's just a misspelling. Anyway, they use some kind of light to get a better look at the objects. Personnel from
the odd light, maybe, like you just left out one of the D's.
There we go. To get a better look at the objects, personnel from Medford Tower used binoculars, and they were able to distinguish wings. On the objects, but no further identification could be detected. The objects would fly formation for a while and then break off and reform in a trail formation. They would disappear for short periods and then reappear in the same general area. Objects were visible to the unaided eye only when they reflected the sun's rays. Very interesting. And there's a couple videos in here like that where you see them literally, I don't know how else to describe it. One of them was just playing earlier where it looks like they're flying in formation.
Yeah, and it's not military formation either. You know, maybe it could be seen as something similar, but it's not like the V or any of the other stuff you'd see like the Blue Angels do.
Right. Yep, exactly. It's a totally different kind of thing for sure. And what they're reporting just there in 1949 and up here in the Great Northwest, what you're seeing in these videos, folks, and this was 1949. And honestly, the more I go through these, the more there's a little part of me, like I'm super happy these came out. But there's a little part of me that's super irritated that they hid this from us and lied to us about it for 80 years.
They didn't have to do that.
They didn't have to do that.
They didn't. They could have gone about this in about 200 different fucking ways. You know, they chose to go this route, which is the most frustrating part because now they're doing the exact opposite. They're just giving. There's nothing behind any of this as far as I don't want to say narrative because I don't want a fucking narrative, but there's no reasoning other than, hey, you guys want to hear this, so here's a bunch of fucking information without any background data that will help. Nothing correlating anything to what we do know. These are all just big fat question marks. Yeah.
239 Loki says that's a decision of the Majestic 12, Majestic 12. Yes. Definitely, you know, as each year progresses, as the times in the hourglass, these are the days of our lives. As each granule slips through that hourglass, it starts to seem more and more likely that there was some type of agreement reached with some species. I'm just being real from the research that I have done. I don't know that we've seen the actual real paperwork, if there even is any. But I do think at some level, humankind or possibly even a government entity negotiated a deal with another being. Call me crazy.
You're crazy,
Call me
but
crazy.
Not about this. You know,
yeah.
This you're kind of spot on there. I agree.
I think it might have happened because we just hear it too many times in too many different so-called narratives, right? And same thing with the future human and all that kind of stuff. There's certain things that just, and I could be totally wrong, but I don't think I am. This thing was white and then yellowish, or they were yellowish red when on the horizon. They don't know how fast they were going. Nobody cares about the heading. They could only observe them in a straight line or if it was reflecting. No exhaust trail, no visible means of propulsion. This next one looks interesting because this next one looks like somebody crumpled up this page and threw it in the trash and somebody retrieved it.
A different kind of crash retrieval.
Right, so we did a paperwork retrieval here on this one. This was in Portland, Oregon, Troutdale, Oregon, and Mount Hood, Oregon. So we've got at least 3, looks like 4 witnesses. We've got a pilot for Northwest Airlines. We've got a flight tower. We've got 2 flight tower operators and a civilian flight instructor who is a pilot. So 2 pilots, 2 flight operators making this report in Portland, Oregon that was retrieved out of the trash. The pilot of a Northwest airline, Martin 202, reported that while approaching Portland from the east, he noticed what appeared to be an aircraft displaying 2 red lights and 1 white light. Since this was non-standard lighting, Captain Thrush watched the object very closely. His sighting of this object was gives the bearing at an altitude of 6,000 feet and was approximately 5 miles west of Stevenson, Washington. He reported that the object was behind him and slightly to the left and maintained that same position until they got to Troutdale, Oregon. When over Troutdale, Oregon, Captain Thrush heard Portland Tower giving instructions to other aircraft to hold over the airport because of an unidentified flying object dropping flares. Upon hearing this information, Captain Thrush turned 180 degrees and attempted to intercept the flying object, displaying the 2 red lights and 1 white light that had been following him. He reported that this object then turned to the southeast and appeared to pull away from him very easily. Captain Thrush reported that this indicated his airspeed was 210 miles per hour while he was trying to intercept the object. Mr. Penhaligon reported that he saw the object while in the air traffic pattern in Troutdale, Oregon. He was flying at an altitude of 1,300 feet and reported the object appeared to be 500 to 800 feet above him and at an estimated distance of 20 miles to the east. The only Air Force aircraft in the vicinity at the time was a B-29 AF-7758, and it looks like they've printed over that number, who was over Portland at 2130p at an altitude of 7,500 feet northbound. The pilot was questioned and stated he did not drop any flares and did not circle over Portland and did not see anything unusual. Wow. So you've got a pilot and a pilot who's also an instructor and 2 people from the flight tower all saying they saw this thing. August 1st, 1949, folks. Wow. Okay, so to break this up a little bit, we're going to check out some Montauk stuff. So, Flak, you said you've gone down this rabbit hole before. What were just a few of the things you thought were interesting about it?
Oh, particularly the stuff with Camp Hero, because they go there, and
right,
there's cages in that fucking place, right? So, like the whole story behind it is it touches loosely on what they speculate in
Stranger Things.
Yeah. which clearly involves kids. You have 11. You have that whole thing. When you said it was Al Bielek, right?
Al
I
Bielek was the
believe
first guy we watched. We're also going to watch Phil. Is it Phil something
not Phil
rather?
Schneider, not Phil Schneider, right?
No. Let me get it pulled up here. I'm pretty sure it's Phil something rather. I'm sorry. It's Preston Nichols.
Yeah, I think that's
Nichols.
I think the two of them were the first one that I've seen where it involves the medium that comes with them to Camp Hero, and they're looking like so they go into this place and there's a viewing room for what looks like it could house like MKUltra style, like I guess brainwashing attempts via like I don't know if you've seen Clockwork Orange, but how they do those eye tests where they strap that apparatus to your face and make you watch shit. It seems like they had something like that going on there, and then there's all these cages, child-sized cages, with chicken wire, right? And when the woman goes in and she sees those, that's I think when she has her breakdown. So, like I don't know, it's a wild one. This one, like I think the reason why I stopped looking into this was just because of how depressing it was, and I was pretty young, so I don't know if I was up to it at the time. But just heartbreaking.
It's pretty insane. And we're gonna start like tonight, just dabbling our toes a little bit, just checking out a few of the things that people that were involved had to say about it. There's some folks that believe everything that Preston Nichols and Al Bailey had to say. There's some that thought they were completely full of shit. I think with everything, like, probably land somewhere in the middle, right? Like that's usually how it goes. It's usually somewhere in the middle between two extremes. But yeah, I mean, it was named after Montauk Point, also called Fort Hero or Camp Hero. And what Al Bielek and Preston Nichols talk about is becoming basically being able to do things with their mind, like create a chair out of thin air. Literally. Al Bailey called it psychotronics. But if you just take the first part of that, PSI, psi, we could be talking about the same kind of thing as like remote viewers and these people that say they can channel orbs, right?
Now, one thing that should be noted is they change names for these projects constantly. They change names for the platforms they're using. Hell, just like flying saucers, UFOs, and now UAP, they change the names of everything often. And I think it's to skirt FOIA requests, because if you don't get the terminology exactly right and you don't ask for the right things, they get to tell you to fuck off. So
right. Isn't that interesting?
It's kind of built into it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that radar array is still in some sort of working order.
Most of the equipment is still there. I'm sure you can debate over whether it can be used or not. But we're talking about a time where this thing initially was set up for World War II to defend one of our coastlines. The radar equipment was kind of at that time just the biggest, most advanced shit we could build on that coastline, just to kind of flex our muscles and see how far out into the ocean we could see, really. And we had, wait till you see the size of the cannon we had at this place, y'all. So we had this gigantic setup in World War II, but after World War II, we didn't really need it anymore. And that's when the shit gets interesting as far as the supposed Montauk experiments and things of that nature, that gets all the way into time travel. And yes, as Flak said, it does get into, there are some reports about people being made to experience pain or go through traumatic situations because there's some type of energy there, which is
Or
weird,
as
right?
the cool kids like to call it now, loosh. That's sweet, sweet loosh,
Loosh.
baby.
I'm just not hip enough. Okay, so this we're gonna listen to
Gotta
just
hang out
a
with the
little
cool
bit.
cats, daddy-o. That's
I
all.
know, right? Okay, so we're gonna this is Preston Nichols here, and y'all can find many snippets of this gentleman speaking during, at that time, radio interviews and conferences. But this is just a small snippet, kind of the start, if you will, of his story.
To a number of schools. I went to Stony Brook for psychology, which I never finished.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to Suffolk County Community College for technician training. And then I went to Polytechnic Institute of Brooklyn for engineering. And I finished up at the University of Tampa.
Brookhaven, that's a pretty impressive place to work.
That's how I...
Right. So he has like 4 degrees and a doctorate, and he's working at Brookhaven.
I got out to Montauk was through Brookhaven. But that's government service. That started in '68.
Okay.
When I went to work at Brookhaven National Labs.
Now, this is how big a deal that is in the late 40s. The fact that Jack Sarfati still brags about getting to work at Brookhaven today. He was working at it in the late 40s. And now here's that picture I talked about at Camp Hero. Look at the size of that fucking cannon.
Woo!
Whoa. That's a big boom, y'all. That's a big boom. So clearly this guy is just to the level of intelligence where it's boring for him to get a degree, right? This is the guy we're talking to or listening to.
As basically a college student, although I was a staff member at that point of the college.
Mm-hmm.
I did take a job because it was more than I was making at the college.
Sure.
It was one of those glow-in-the-dark jobs. In '68, you get paid $22 an hour. That's a lot. I never got involved in anything secret, per se. Because Brookhaven Lab was an open forum, supposedly. The stealth technology that was developed in the 40s, up through the late 40s, very early 50s, sure, it worked. It worked very effectively, but had a tendency to make people sick in many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to make it so that a human being could exist in the field. The EM field was being generated. Because I was told that we were working on interfacing a person's mind to a computer.
Mm-hmm.
So that you could think and the computer would pick up what you're thinking, literally a mind-reading device. And, the opposite.
They have that now. It's called Grok and ChatGPT. Can
Yep.
read your mind. If you didn't know, now you know.
Then where a person could pick up signals from a computer directly. The idea was this was most likely applications of stuff they noted in alien spacecraft where the alien creatures actually interfaced mentally with the systems on the ship and ran the ship systems, the avionics system, purely mentally.
Right.
There was no switches. There was no human interface, so to speak. No mechanical human interface with a direct connection. And this is the ideal way.
Which is like, doesn't that remind you of what Bob Lazar said? He's like, there's 2 seats. That's it. Like, what about the controls? What about the thing they got to hook up to their head? And he's like, there's 2 seats. I don't know.
To fly an airplane. We have total optical, complete physical invisibility.
How about a human being?
Yes.
How about
I know they do because I chase guys with the man packs. You could hear them. You could see them move branches, but you couldn't see them optically.
Did you hear that, Flak?
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
He chases invisible men in his front yard away.
Chase them.
Yeah, I chase them around my yard.
So they come pay you a visit every now and then.
They were for a while.
Huh.
4 degrees, doctorate's degree. Working at the most advanced scientific building known to man, essentially, until like CERN, pretty much, at Brookhaven.
Did you go from Brookhaven to Montauk?
Basically.
Okay. And
That's when it went from my regular life to my hidden life.
tell us how that happened.
Hmm?
Tell us how that happened.
As far as I could figure, it had something to do with this time manipulation number they pulled, where you'd work for a day and then they literally reverse you back through that day and you start over again.
Mm-hmm.
And memory is key to many things, including what reality you're in.
I swear to God, they made 6 movies about that theory right there.
Yep. I hope he got paid for it because
I hope he did too.
yeah, I've never heard anybody because I've heard these before, but since then I hadn't heard anybody even talk about any of this stuff until the movies dropped.
Mhm.
You know.
And then everybody was talking about it. That's what I like to do, Flak. I like to pick up on it way after everybody was excited.
Oh,
I
it's a
could
good
not
thing because you're
exist.
not hanging out in the wacky forums I am, where you're too early on this shit and you look crazy.
In two different places at the same time. The first pass became essentially an alternate reality.
Whoa, dude. So we're gonna dig into this in later episodes, but essentially they had him trapped working the same day over and over again, but he didn't really realize it was the same day. So it's like he's just working, they're getting all these results out of him, and he's reliving the same day.
Oh man, I have a feeling that they invented this whole thing just so they wouldn't have to pay people overtime.
That's a good, you know what? That's a good strategy. If you're a small business owner, did you hear that? Oh, buddy. Yeah. So it gets very deep. In fact, where I left off with my research, I was listening to the gentleman we listened to earlier, Al Balick, describe, oh man, that they had to, we'll just say, do adult things to get them excited to access certain powers. I mean, that's how weird it gets.
That's
And
like
then
straight out of the MKUltra fucking playbook too.
it really is, right? So was this like another CIA, hey, let's just fuck with them thing? You think that's possible?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, like how many earmarks does it need for projects that we kind of know about today, to where maybe this gives it a bit of fruition, seeing as like I'm pretty sure this interview is what 30, 40 years old by now.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting if you look at the first and the last letter of that word. Curious. Okay. We're going to read a few more of these reports here for you folks, and then we're probably going to call it a show. Where did my video go? There it is. Okay. So this is our video of recently released DoD video files. And as I said, we're just going to kind of let those play as we go through some of these descriptions. I'm now on page 28 of that same report, and we are still in the summer of 1949, 25 July 1949. We have another reporting here. Let me see. They saw 7 what looked... Oh, wait, hold on. The objects were delta wings with no protrusions. The angle of the apex, as reported by Mr. Clark, was between 30 and 45 degrees, with the base of the triangle being a slightly curved convex. They saw 7 of them. They were spotted flying in a V formation. In addition to the description and paragraph, Mr. Clark noted a dark circular structure where the pilot normally sits. The leading edge of this dark circular structure was approximately 1/4 the distance from the apex of the delta wing to the rear. This dark circular structure was noted at the time Mr. Clark was below the objects. And for size, they say it's larger than an F-51. So if you can find the size of an F-51, it was bigger than that. Color, it was darker than normal aluminum skin and not shiny. The surface seemed to be between a light gray and a dirty white with no markings or diffusion of color. Faster than an F-41, at least 600 miles per hour, at least. What speed is it where you break the sound barrier?
Oh, I think it's a little bit above 6.
Okay. And that was another thing. They say these things break the sound barrier, but don't actually break the sound barrier. Mr. Clark,
I think the only thing that we had was the ox cart that went that fast, or even
probably
touched it. Yeah.
Let me see. He reported no maneuvers other than the 180-degree turn. Sometimes we get deja vu. The objects did not appear to bank during the turn. When the objects were first sighted and before the 180-degree turn was made, the outer wing surfaces appeared to move slightly. He reported the formation between 8,500 and 10,000 feet. When the formation was first sighted, Mr. Clark was cruising at 10,000 feet, and objects were slightly below and 1/4 of a mile to the left of his position. When the formation made the 180-degree turn, Mr. Clark descended to 8,500 feet and was below the formation when they came back. No sound. No exhaust trail was visible. He was flying from Burley, Idaho to Nampa, Idaho, and a Cub cruiser when the objects were sighted. When the formation was first sighted, they were going in approximately the same direction as Mr. Clark and were approximately 1/4 of a mile to his left and below. Mr. Clark was cruising at 10,000 feet at this time. He observed the formation until it made the 180-degree turn, at which time Mr. Clark descended on his aircraft, made a 90-degree turn, then turned to the left in an effort to intercept the formation. He was able to get below the level of the formation at 8,500 feet, at which time he noticed the dark circular bulge on the bottom side of the object. Because of their speed, the flying objects soon became lost from Mr. Clark, from the sight of Mr. Clark, who proceeded on to his destination. Mr. Clark is known personally by Captain John Beatty of this organization, who states that in his opinion, Mr. Clark is a reliable witness. $1949, y'all.
Yeah, that's wild.
What's crazy is it's just like report after report after report like this. I mean, it really gets stupid. And it makes you wonder, like, what the fuck were they doing? Because they're supposed to be defending that airspace, right? Like, that's their job as the military. So why are they taking all these reports? They're getting all this data from video. There's a ton of data on that screen right now, y'all. We just can't see it. They have a ton of this shit. And they're not doing anything. We're supposed to believe that they're literally not doing anything and haven't done anything for 80 years.
Yeah, I call bullshit, especially since we've heard wind of like using radar arrays to knock these things out of the fucking sky anyway. So I wonder what year that pops in. What year they got brave enough to start fucking with these things back.
Well, that's where it gets interesting, right? Because if we were trying to do that, we're talking about doing that to something we don't understand.
Well, that would be the smart thing, but you know how the military is. They act smart for a little while, and then they all of a sudden just decide, fuck it, let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, and to think that they just kind of let this simmer for 80 years is like, y'all, the United States just removed a president by force from an entire country and didn't break a sweat. Like, that's the technology we have now. That's the capability we have now. They definitely were not sitting around for 80 years with all of this data going, huh. And like I said, what bugs me is they didn't have to fuck with people, right? They literally ruined some people's lives.
Yeah, like in the case of Richard Doty, I don't want to rip open old wounds, but that was one.
Well, his main victim was Phil. Oh my God, why can't I think of his name?
His name isn't coming to me. I'm going to say there's a DEW in action right now.
Right. They're messing with us, buddy. But yeah, they ruined a lot of people's lives. They made them feel stupid. They isolated them and separated them from their friend groups. They lied to them. They manipulated them. And if there's truth to the Mill Labs, they also abducted them and fucked with them. So tax dollars hard at work. Unbelievable. Let me see. This was in Columbus, Ohio. This person called the airport. Let's see what happened here. It says he's a photographer by trade and has worked with jet aircraft and engines. The shape was a flying wing type, swept back wings, tail but no noticeable nose, similar to present day jet aircraft. And this is 20 July 1949. And that's what you were talking about before, right? The turbine, the jet just being right in the middle, the body of the aircraft, essentially.
Yeah, that's the slower variety, though. Like, because even our stealth bomber had two on either side of the cockpit, and that was pretty fucking fast. But the other ones, like, it seems to be Germans really stuck with the two, because even France had like early prototype jets that were done in like the late 20s, early 30s, that had one singular jet, sometimes on the bottom, sometimes on the top, but it would be closer to like the tail fin, right? But the vertical standing one.
Interesting. Okay, so more pages of reports from witnesses. But what's interesting is that if you jump down a little ways, I believe there are some reports that include radar confirmation. So I'm on page 46 of said document. This is to the Commanding General Military Air Transport Service. This is 16 June 1949. Okay, technical. During a test hop of an RB-29, a radar operator from the 514th Reconnaissance Squadron. Weather, and then something's handwritten in that I can't read, made the following observation. On Monday, the 2nd of May, 1949, aircraft number took off for the purpose of test hopping the ship. Takeoff was made at approximately 1500. The radar set was turned on at approximately 1515 and was tuned in. Guam and Rota were picked up by radar, and after about 10 minutes of operation, some type of interference was noticed on the scope. It came in the same form as a regular range marker, except that the pulse were approximately 10 miles apart. They only covered the area covered by Guam, plus about 5 degrees on either side of the island. The scope was on the 100-mile range. As the range reduced, the interference grew larger on the scope. There is a sketch of the scope as it appeared with the interference drawn in. The operator who made the above observation is one of 514th Reconnaissance Squadron's most experienced radar operators and is very proficient in the operation of radar equipment. He checked the set after landing and could find no malfunctions. On 8th June 49, at this position, while flying a heading of 80 degrees, gives the location, routine Vulture Barker weather reconnaissance mission. A white billowing substance was sighted at an altitude of 30,000 to 35,000 feet. The sighting was made by 2 crew members, First Lieutenant Ernest Swanson, weather observer, and Master Sergeant Walter Rogers, engineer. What appeared to be a traveling contrail moving from northeast to west southwest at an estimated speed of 4,200 miles per hour. This speed was determined by means of triangulation. The substance was observed at a relative bearing of approximately 45 degrees to the heading of the aircraft at a distance of 30 miles. Substance disappeared from view approximately 1 minute after first sighting at relative hearing of approximately 160 degrees. The substance was traveling in a straight line and was definitely white. A 3/4 moon made visibility excellent. No sketches or photographs are available. Whoa. The substance? So we've got radar confirmation. The radar operator sees this huge thing moving. And then we have visual confirmation. They're saying it looked like a white blob, I guess. Because they made sure, I mean, they included that word several times, the substance, which is also a crazy movie with Demi Moore.
I don't think I've seen that.
You know, it makes you wonder if we're in the Matrix watching The Substance.
I gotta watch it. Okay, it's on the old Watch and Rooney list there.
It's a weird one. Okay, so there are another 100 pages of reports, y'all. And this is one, again, I'm going to put the link after we're done with the recording. I'll put the link down in the show notes, and I'm not going to go through each one, but essentially every single report is very, very similar to that. So I just wonder, why is this happening now? Like, why did the White House use Alien.gov for some bullshit and gaslight everybody? Why did they release all the alien files? Why are they teasing disclosure? Like, what is going on? Any thoughts? Because
boredom. They're bored. I think that they
bored.
need a show themselves. Yeah, just in unison. They're all bored and they want to fuck with us.
They want some entertainment. Are they just normalizing craziness so that we just don't react to shit anymore?
Yeah, maybe, especially since that ontological shock thing didn't happen in the way that they projected the past like 50 years. You know, there hasn't been mass chaos and riots in the street. I mean,
Right.
other things have caused that, but not this shit. You know, like this
Right.
is everyone's like, yeah, okay, got work to do. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah.
See you
Milk's
later.
$5 a gallon. Sorry. Yeah, it really it makes you want, because we know, like, if you're watching what's happening in Washington right now with some of these oversight committees, it's kind of coming out that Fauci really was a piece of shit and might have caused COVID himself.
Yeah,
Possibly.
yeah, I'm willing to say that just from the Beagles. Anyway, fuck him.
I remember covering that with you. That was a rough picture to post.
Yeah, but people need to see this shit, you know, like, and not for anything other than know why you dislike this man. You know, if somebody goes, oh, well, what did he do that was so wrong? Besides AZT and the whole treatment of the AIDS problem,
Right.
well, there's about another 30 dozen things that this man has done.
Do you think that this could be like preparation for disclosure?
I don't know. I don't think they're taking it seriously at all. Like
No.
after the Aliens.gov thing, I think they're just playing with us. I think that
Yeah.
was like the biggest red flag possible.
It's been very interesting seeing Jeremy Corbell speak with such conviction about bodies. I don't know if you've seen any of these interviews lately, but he's really been pushing that they have bodies.
Yeah,
thing.
Lou Elizondo's been doing the same fucking thing too. Like talking
Interesting.
about biologics and shit like that, where like he's been asked under oath and he wouldn't give that answer, but now all of a sudden, now that he doesn't have any of that to worry about, like, you know, he hasn't been asked to swear on a Bible or anything for any of these other interviews. He's dipping his toes in a little bit further.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. And we've got, you know, Disclosure Day, the movie, the Spielberg movie coming out. There's a lot of hype about that. It kind of makes me wonder a little bit with that movie and with all of this hype out of Washington, could this be narrative control? You know, like,
That's always a possibility, but you would think they would do it in a more you hear control, you don't think of like just causing chaos to see what happens. You know, I don't know.
it's getting
all
people to
happening
think a
such
certain
weird
way.
Yeah, okay,
Right?
all right, I can see that. Well, they are peppering everything with angels and demons too now.
They
You know,
have been doing that for a while.
yeah.
Yeah, it always becomes a part of the alien discussion, angels and demons, every time. Every time.
It's not like it doesn't deserve to be mentioned, but to make it the end all be all, like some of them are doing, is kind of odd. Especially like you're not sat there with verifiable evidence to try and die on that fucking hill is crazy. You know,
Yeah.
like you're already talking about something fucking wild. Now you want to bring even more wild speculation into it. I think that it kind of just speaks to the talking heads that are pushing some of this shit out, like
Absolutely.
how seriously they take themselves or how seriously they take the thing. Because they always, every single time they're talking about something serious, they always dial it back. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like they jump into fucking crazy conspiracy mode or break out the sigils and Ouija board. You know, like it's odd that they're doing it for this one.
Yeah, it is an interesting take, and I do believe it could explain some weirdness out there for sure. Like, one of my first interviews was with great personal friend of mine, Cruz Moreno, who is a super devout Catholic. You know, knows all the verses and that kind of stuff. Just a man of God. And there are crazy things that happen. I mean,
Yeah,
the
and Loki,
Catholics
we're
will
not
tell
saying
you.
it. We're not even saying that it couldn't be angels, it couldn't be demons, couldn't be this, couldn't be that. It's when certain talking heads take a hard stance on it, and you've never heard them bring up the religious angle ever before. You know, I would listen to what the Vatican has to say about things. And growing up in that religion, like I do take some of that stuff seriously, especially when it's a big statement being put out by the entire Vatican. You know, like
Yeah.
a pope Pope saying something is that as well. Like they back whatever the Pope says. That's kind of like the whole point of it, right? So to see it shoehorned into something else where it doesn't exactly belong, right? And that's just within the government. The government should not be fucking talking about that shit unless they know it's a serious reference, because then
Right.
well, let's say angels do come down, right? And they fucked this entire
Or
thing
there
up.
are fallen angels here.
Yeah, but like
in the Book
imagine
of
this
Enoch.
blows up in their face, right?
Because of the flood?
Yeah, any number of things, but I'm just talking about the alien angel thing that blows up in
Mhm.
their face, right? And then later on, something happens. Oh, it's actually fucking angels. Now they open their mouth and they start bringing the angels out again. They start bringing out the demons again. No one's gonna fucking believe them. It's a boy who cried wolf situation.
Right. Right. Yeah. Look at that. Speaking of formations, I don't know if y'all are seeing that video there. That is unbelievable. If I didn't see it, I wouldn't believe it.
And it's black too, because some of these things show up white, some of these things show up black. That's fucking cool. That means it's cold, right?
There's 3 of them. 4 of them. Now there's 4 of them.
Well, yeah. Actually, there's 5 because there's
5?
a set of 2, and one in the middle.
Yeah, they're like splitting into more.
That one I sent you it's just an anecdote with like little diagrams, and I believe a kite is mentioned, as far as the shape.
Was this the document you sent?
Yeah, the very last thing, I believe.
Let me pull it up here.
But that one is orbs birthing other orbs.
Orbs birthing other orbs. How does that work?
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I think there has to be a mama orb and a daddy orb.
Right.
And then if they
I thought
love
there was
each
an
other
orb
just
stork.
enough.
There's no orb
That
stork?
he comes in later. You see, he comes in.
Let's see what Flak's talking about here.
The 3 images, the one where it has like 3 written paragraphs, that's the first one, and then the singular one is one that just didn't fit on the page of the screenshot.
All right, I got it here. Maybe. Here we go. Well, that does look crazy. Here we go. Transparent kite?
Yeah, that's the last one.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Hold, please. Okay.
Because I know there's going to be like one other person who actually found that document who's going to be like, "You idiot, you did it wrong," and we would be wrong in that case.
Yes. We do not claim to be right all the time on this show, 100%. Okay. So this is it here. It says, if you're having trouble reading it, let me see. It says, orbs launching orbs. 3 teams of 2 federal law enforcement special agents independently describe seeing orange orbs in the sky emit or launch smaller red orbs in groups of 2 to 4, with 3 being the general consensus. This is stated to have occurred at least 5 times. Each time the orange orb would appear, launched red orbs then disappear. The orb was only visible for 1 or 2 seconds. The red orbs would generally move away from the orange mother orb in a horizontal path. But in a couple of instances, one red orb was stated to move, heading up at an angle, while another witness stated sometimes the red dots would swoop down after being launched from the larger orange orb. These events were witnessed by multiple teams from varying locations and vantage points over a 2-day period. Due to sequential nature of the events, it is not known whether there was single orange mother orb that released that groups of red orbs or whether there were multiple orange orbs at play. Is this from Skywatch? Or is this a dirt?
I'm not sure. This is from the recent drop, and I believe Where the fuck did this come from? Could have been the DOE, Department of Energy, is where the paperwork came from. Could have been the Air Force. I don't think this came from NASA. I'm thinking this is Air Force.
Dude, that's crazy. This was in the, so I just haven't got there yet.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Wow. We got a large
Like,
fiery orb, 2 federal
I
law
found
enforcement
out-
special agents.
on 2 separate days too, which is wild. But how I've been working through this is going interdepartmentally, as opposed to just like one by one by one. I've been going to, okay, let's see exactly what NASA has put out. Let's see exactly what the Department of Energy has put out. Let's see exactly what the Air Force, like, because they have the subsections and stuff. You could also do it by photograph only, where it's only, you can look at every single photograph that they put out. You can look at every single video that they put out. So I've been doing it just department wise. It's been a bit easier, and it's been funner that way to see how many departments have their hands on this UFO shit.
Oh God. Yeah, that'd be a good assignment for your AI, right? All of them.
It turns out
every single one.
Literally everyone. Even the courthouses somehow.
Every single one. Okay, if it's not narrative control, are we getting, I mean, and it kind of seems like we're getting control,
like narrative overload, right?
Right.
It's like control via exhaustion. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're boxers right now, and we're trying to still follow the subject, aka the other boxer, and they're just running us around the ring, tiring us out. You know, hoping we give up.
Yeah. Fucking bastards. Are you worried at all? I've heard this in a couple of spaces I've been in, and so I thought I'd bring it up. Are you worried at all about this disclosure Spielberg documentary having some kind of triggering effect on experiencers? I feel like I should put that out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you this, just having certain conversations with some people who've seen the same thing, it didn't have a triggering effect, but it did cause me to like stop for a second and go, like, after their anecdote and remembering things that I remember from the thing I saw, going like, oh, that's really fucking weird. You know, you get the chills down your spine because it's something that no one else has talked about up until that. I'm not even sure I mentioned this to anybody either. You know, to where like things will awaken if you've been part of some kind of experience. Go in there with I don't know, maybe a buddy, a hug buddy that'll keep you from losing your shit during the viewing. But hopefully not. Hopefully it goes well.
You know what it is? You got to be a 1st Earth Battalion soldier.
Oh, dude, if only. I think they closed that branch down.
Hell no.
Can you request?
I run it out of my kitchen every Tuesday night. 1st Battalion.
Dude, I'm down to join up, dude. We should start
FEB, baby. FEB. Hell yeah. Someone make us a logo. We need a FEB logo. Stat. And also we need to incorporate. Oh man. Crazy. Okay, so again, I could bore you all with reading every single incident report on this stack, but I'm not going to do that. That would be awful and only good for bedtime listening. So I have given you a good taste of the 3rd packet you can download on the Department of War website, which appears to include, once again, this is our 2nd packet of 100% all incident reports. And when you get farther into the packet, in fact, I'm just going to share this really briefly here. Because when you get farther into the packet, that is when you're going to get the radar confirmed reports, as well as some of these sketches like this one. Check that out.
Oh, that's the ye old flying pancake. I love that fucking plane just for how weird it is.
It even has the US logo on it. Look at that.
Yep. Yeah, that thing is cool looking. Can you imagine seeing that? Like, you've never ever seen anything like that. And you're a pilot now, so you're used to seeing planes, but you never see anything like that. And you're like, what the fuck is this pancake looking thing flying around?
Right. 1949, y'all. 1949.
But it also proves that these boys knew what they were looking at. If they can describe it like that and go, I don't know what this is, but it looks like ours, boss.
Dude, it's insane. And there was a drawing in the last batch as well that it looked nothing like you thought a UFO would look like. But it was a drawing from a pilot and probably pretty fucking accurate to what he saw.
If we could give a quick shout out to Michael Schratt. Check out his stuff. He's way cool. And he loves doing like I know on his website he has a bunch of things that they're printouts, right? So to be a printout of the TR-3B, a printout of this, a printout of that, because you can make like a little paper model so you can see what these things look like, which I love that. I also love that him and Rudy Gardia, he'll hire people to do these little art projects for him where they're illustrating a lot of these cases. So check him out. I love his work.
You know, now that I think about it, that actually, of course, the name's not going to come to me. Maybe someone in the chat can help out. But who is the gentleman that drew the concept art who said he went to the private?
Ooh, Mark McCandlish.
Okay. Doesn't that look like something McCandlish drew at one point?
Oh, yeah. And now the funny thing about McCandlish was he was out and out hired by the U.S. government to do these drawings or whatever, but they would never give him. So they wouldn't give him a photo. Yeah, they wouldn't give him photos. They wouldn't give him.
This is classified until last week.
Yep. So what they would do is they would describe it to him and go, "Hey, go ahead, go draw this thing." And most of the time, he was spot the fuck on, because I know of I think it was the Northrop X and a few others that were done that way, where they just gave them a light description and had these guys go off. But they were good enough artists that they pulled the crime scene thing where it was like just a couple of facial recognition things, and these guys are drawing full portraits type of stuff. So just very cool.
Yeah. Crazy. So this is, and you can see from the rest of this document, incident reports. Now we're getting some images of where these things took place. So if you're like a hardcore researcher, I bet there's people that have had cases in mind for years and they just needed this little map right here to prove it. And now you have it. So at least we've gotten that far. I'm not a huge, I think all presidents are douchebags, which is why I'm not go Trump or go Obama or go any of them, because they all suck. But I am glad that he at least got this. It's from the fucking 40s. He at least got this out. Like, I wonder how many chapters he's going to close with this information that came out. Look at that.
Hopefully at least just the saucer shit. You know what I mean? It's from one time to one time. If we can get at least all the saucer shit on the table to where we go, okay, at least we have one era of craft fucking sorted. I'll be happy.
You're not lying anymore about it.
Yeah. We're supposed to have the JFK files by now. There's a certain amount of time that this shit's declassified. Yeah, dude. There's supposed to be an amount of time that declassification is supposed to happen within, and they keep fucking changing it. Like, fuck off, dude. Like, everyone's dead from the 40s or pretty fucking close to it now.
I remember being in history class, and I'm pretty old, y'all. All right, so I would have been in high school history class in the 90s. Okay, I remember being in history class, and the history teacher saying, when you're a grown adult, all the people that were involved in JFK are going to be dead, and you're going to be able to see the JFK files. You're going to be able to see what they held back and what actually happened. And you're right. All those people are dead, and they still extended the date. What the fuck? And then they gave D&I Tulsi Gabbard all of these UFO files and all of these JFK files. Oh, I'm sorry. The JFK and the MKUltra files that they had left. The CIA went in and took those files back before Gabbard retired. Did you know this?
Yeah, I heard about that. And
just last week.
Yeah, and what was wild was it was going back and forth. If they did it or didn't do it, if they did it or didn't do it. And it turns out they did it. And it turns out that she fucking took off after. She, like, oh man, I don't know if anybody also remembers this, but like once Trump got reelected this time, you had most of his cabinet members receiving coins from the CIA. Do you remember those? Like, I don't remember any other administration.
Not the death coin.
No, this is just a CIA appreciation coin, which is really fucking weird. I didn't even know that existed until now. But all these Congress people were showing theirs off like it was a badge of honor. Like, fuck off, burn that thing. I would have handed it right the fuck back because there's most likely a listening device inside that bitch. Fuck off with your dumb coin.
It's actually an explosive device.
Oh, even better. Jeez, man. It's not even that. It's just a radioactive material. So just in case at any point in time they could bring your ass in on fucking uranium charges, you know?
Right. Oh man, Loki is 239. Loki saying Death Star equals a moon. I'll tell you, Loki, I went through our last episode, the last batch of files. There was a gentleman that wrote, it was a 3 or 4 pages report on him thinking that non-humans are traveling between the moon and Earth. That was also part of this declassification.
Weird thing too is like the moon kind of shows up at an odd time in history. You know, there is a point in time.
It's just weird.
Nobody mentioned it, and then all of a sudden it fucking shows up one day. Right. You know, and I'm talking about a real long time ago. This isn't within the last 500 years, is way before that. But I mean, it is on record where somebody is like, this thing in the astral plane fucking shows up, and then now it's here every so often.
Absolutely crazy. Look at this diagram. So these are points where people saw things, and it's like there's probably some reporter that could have died happy had he got this 50 years ago, you know? It's unfortunate.
Geez, dude, I love these so much. Like, if nobody's making a fucking movie of this stuff, like, geez, just these old photographs, and then building your own narrative of some of this stuff would be just fun to do.
Yeah, I mean, all these reports, dude, it's just report after report after report of incidents. I mean, and what's crazy is like, if you look at the qualifications of the people, and as I was saying in these later pages, we have radar confirmations. Look at that.
There was a World War II Nazi film that I saw a couple of years ago where it starred the, I don't know if you've seen 22 Jump Street, but the main football dude, the main football guy that's like Channing Tatum's best friend in that movie. He plays one of the American soldiers. I think it's called Overlord. But basically they sneak into German occupied territory. They go into this experimental base where they're working on basically making zombies, right? But just that angle, and instead finding fucking saucers. Just do that shit. You get a fucking $1 billion franchise right there.
Yes. Now this is interesting. And this was pointed out to me in my last file reading, is that a disc from the side is going to look cigar-ish, right? Because it's on its side. It's not going to look like a disc from the side. And that's almost what we're looking at right there. 10 feet high, 60 feet across. I mean, this is just fascinating stuff, y'all. So, like I said, a lot of these later pages are technical and drawings. So I'm not really going to go through and read all these, but good Lord, there is some interesting stuff in here.
And interdepartmental things, like on some of the videos and some of the files at the bottom, search all these pages, but on the bottom, it'll tell you FBI corroborated shit, right? So I found ones where it was like FBI had radar images that was going with pilot fucking descriptions, but it was from two different agencies, so you don't get it within one, but it had a link to it underneath with like 5 FBI radar descriptions and then photographs. So
that is crazy. Yeah, and that's the thing. I haven't even cracked open the FBI reports yet, and apparently there are some FBI reports in these files, I guess, that are pretty interesting. I have not even got there, so we are going to get there later, y'all. I promise. Like I said, we're working our way through these files. I think for this batch, this third batch, I am going to put a link to it in the video when we're done. But for this batch, I think we've covered most of the interesting stuff. Of course, if you're a technical person, the interesting stuff is going to be in the latter half of that paperwork where we see this picture was found right here. And quite certain those points are important. So yeah, dig in. I mean, this is what this stuff is for. But fuck, man, if these reports don't seem like what we're seeing in these videos, it's insane to me. We read these reports from the 40s and 50s, and we're seeing these reports on videos from today. It's a balloon, says McWest.
yeah, McWest, I think he said it was a seagull stuck in a balloon.
Right. But yeah, so I had fun with this one. Montauk, very interesting stuff. We're definitely going to be digging deeper into Montauk. So if that part interested you, be excited. We're going to have more on that coming up. I'm kind of compiling together some of the more interesting things. I think they were brilliant, these gentlemen that were involved. You could probably argue that back and forth, but I'm compiling some of the more interesting things that they spoke about over the years, and we're going to have that on a future episode coming up about Montauk. And Flak, you wanted to do something with Epstein, right? So,
oh yeah, I've got quite a bit of information we can cover on Mr. Epstein.
Hell yeah.
Big fish to fry with that one.
Dude, look, this is the being video. You seen this one yet?
Ooh, I don't think so.
They're calling this a being. So some people are speculating this is an actual angel right here.
It's weird because I don't know what the fuck is going on in the background. Like if that's because in the ocean it could be static image, right? Where
Sure.
because I've heard this before where they'll make it like they'll zoom in and pan into certain things so it looks like the object is moving, but it could just be stationary. But this is wild. It looks more like it is going over grass or some kind of terrain because I don't see any defined waves or any wave breaks or anything like that. But it could be grain sped up over time, and that's just like a wind. But I don't know. That's cool as fuck, though.
I mean, they saved it. And they have all that data that they've blacked out from us. So I don't know. I would think if it was some kind of just lens anomaly or something, they wouldn't have said. And then did you see how quick it just took off?
Yeah, and what is 2M?
Instantaneous, Flak.
Are they saying it's 2 meters high?
I don't know. They blacked out all the data.
Well, there was a little blue 2M next to it. That's why I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I'll see if I can rewind it just a fuzz. That's the hard part because it's like a 3-hour video. So rewinding it just a little bit is challenging. Here we go. Okay. You want to pause it right here? So you're saying is that little square, say it says 2 either H or M. It's probably M. So you're right. It probably is saying it's 2 meters in size.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
That's a decent size. For all you non-Canadians in the house. That's a good like basketball hoop height, like 10, 12 feet, something like that. A couple meters.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool.
It's pretty big.
Oh, before we get out of here, can we give a couple of shout outs?
Dude,
I've got some,
I love it when you get the shout outs.
I got some men on the streets of the contacting the desert street, so we will be getting some updates soon.
Oh, fantastic! Because I can't afford going there.
Oh, me neither. Me neither. It's across the other side of the fucking planet, as far as I'm concerned right now.
My wife and I looked at tickets, and she was like,
she said, "Next year, sir.
Don't you fucking dare."
Oh,
I
man.
kid. I kid.
So Sarah Beth, I want to say thank you very much. I want to say Fletch, thank you very much. I want to say Gray Owl, thank you for fucking hanging out as always.
Sarah?
Loki, awesome to see you around, buddy.
Yep.
We got Orr.
Love Sarah Beth. Sarah Beth's going to come on pretty soon and tell us about some of her experiences, which should be
very cool. Love Sarah Beth. She's an awesome individual. She runs the mods for a lot of my spaces, like co-host. Very cool individual. Then we got who else? Eric Hecker. I want to give a shout out to him too. Friend of the
we
show.
Love Eric. Hell yeah.
If I'm forgetting anybody, you just got to annoy me a bit more. And
Gray Owl's giving you a shout out. Woo-hoo! I'm giving Flak Magnet a shout out. Love it when you're on the show, buddy. It's always a good time. And I love getting your take because you do. You're a smart dude, and you do take the time to have a actual individual, unique thought about these things. That's why I love having you on, man.
Oh, thank you, buddy. I love being here, bro. Like I'm trying to get my shit together so I could be a little bit more consistent and we can make I guess more schedule adherence. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But first, did you see that?
Oh no, pop it on, buddy.
Hold on. Let's see. It goes by pretty quick. Oh, where did it go?
I just seen it. It was a split. It was a split.
It was
second.
it looked like a freaking jet or something. That was wild looking. It looked like a rocket from a future movie in the 50s is what it looked like. That was weird. Anyway, all these videos are available on my other video where I have that marked. It's the I think it's like the disclosure release or something. You'll know it's what video it is because it's like 3.5 hours long, but you can hop in there and watch these at any time, and they're all just like this, just listed in there, strung all together. So again, thanks for hanging out, buddy. Everyone else, thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time on the Gabriel Speaks podcast. Y'all have a good night.
Peace.